The rights and responsibilities of the samurai. In medieval Japan, the samurai were the warrior class. They had rights such as having food and carrying weapons, but they also had responsibilities like defending their lords and following the Code of Bushido. Their influence was evident with the kamikaze pilot in World War II and can be seen today in modern martial arts.
In the 8th century, the Buddhist priests of Nara gained a lot of control of the Japanese government. Many ideas were coming from the Korean peninsula, China and India, for example. Japan had bell-shaped roofs, just like India. They had an emperor in Japan. The emperor of Japan only had slight control over the Uji, who were a Japanese clan at the time. The Uji were somewhat independent. The Uji had the right to choose the next emperor and controlled the land. People who wanted to become government officials had to take an examination. Later, the emperor collected the Uji clan's land, which was then distributed to people for a high property tax. Japanese capital city was Nara. It did not have good defenses like other neighboring countries' capitals, such as China's capital, which it was based on. China's capital had a wall around it, but not Nara. Japan was inspired by other countries' religion, culture, government, and many more things from nearby countries. Starting in 1185, power was being converted to shoguns. The samurai would pledge their loyalty to the shogun in exchange for rewards. When the samurai were forming, it created a panic in the midst of the military. Samurai trained for combat such as archery. Both girls and boys could be samurai. They would be toughened up and learned to use weapons. By the 14th century, Japan was similar to the feudal system in Europe. The feudal system was a government system to show who was in charge. Daimyos were like generals.
The samurai had many rights and responsibilities, one being by living by the Code of Bushido, which means Way of the Warrior. Within Bushido, there are multiple values, including being honest and fair, being extremely loyal to their lord and even willing to die for them, and valuing personal glory and honor above all else. Other responsibilities included having a sense of justice, having self-control, and showing sympathy to others, to stay polite at all times, and showing utmost respect to and loyalty to their superiors, and finally, committing ritual suicide, which is called seppuku, if they are dishonored. The samurai had many rights, such as having the right to about 180 liters of rice per year to feed themselves. They had the right to have a sword, advise and determine things for commoners. They had the right to defend the samurai's honor. And fun fact, he had two names, a family and a first name, which while other Japanese people only had a first name. They also had to run for public office. Cultural superiority was enforced by promotion and education, and finally, the shoguns and daimyo lords were members of the Shimen Castle.
The samurai era ended in 1868 when politics got out of hand, leading to the emperor's return to rule again. After the Meiji Restoration, which lasted from 1869 to 1947, the samurai became part of the shizuku, a social class of former samurai. The samurai went on to shape many things in our modern-day life, such as many martial arts practices, as many are inspired and have similar values to the samurai. Also, Musashi's Book of Five Rings, which was written by the undefeated samurai Miyamoto Musashi, is still read in many languages all around the world today. Also, the Japanese soldiers that fought in World War II used tactics such as attacking from short and long range that were similar to the Bushido.